I'm Joey Padilla. I'm here with Nolan Padilla. No relation whatsoever. Dancer, choreographer. Welcome in. How you doing, man? Of
What's up, Joey? I'm great, man. Thanks for having me, dude.
course. So how'd you get your start as a dancer?
Well, I'm originally from Cheyenne, Wyoming. My mom and my dad are both from there. So I grew up in Wyoming and I'm an 80s baby. So like that was the time of like MTV where they played music videos and it was like Michael Jackson, MC Hammer, TLC, Janet, Bobby Brown, like all these people that were dancing. And I was just so drawn to music. I think A, because my parents always listened to music. And then B, the music videos made it look that like so exciting. Like the music video Thriller and all those things just really like my mind was like, what is this? I got to know what this is. So I just started watching those music videos and recorded them on a VHS tape, started learning those routines and just was kind of dancing in my bedroom or in the basement in Wyoming. Not a whole lot of dance or kind of street dance was offered in Wyoming growing up in
Mhm.
the 80s. And it was very much like sports, baseball, and soccer, and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of started dancing just kind of like as a hobby, but like kind of like quiet and kept it to myself and didn't really let anybody know about it. In high school, I moved to Colorado in Denver, where my father was living, and that's where I started dancing at a dance studio called Cleo Parker and Robinson in downtown Denver. And it was taught by this guy called Larry Southall. He's now a professor of hip hop at the University of Colorado in Boulder. And he was kind of the first guy who taught me like foundational like dance, I guess, or like foundational street dance, like the elements of hip hop from like popping, locking, house, all those kind of fundamental things that you need to be successful. So that's where I started like training, I would say. Graduated high school and right at 18, I moved to LA to start dancing. And that's kind of my path to start where I'm going.
Did you always want to do dancing and choreography for like all these big events that you do? Was that ever in the picture when you started out?
Yeah, I think like at 9 years old, like I remember watching music videos and being like, I want to do that. Like I want to make that. I want to be in that. I want to be that person. So at like a very young age, I think at like 9 years old, I didn't know how to get there, but I knew that's what I was going to do regardless of whatever else anybody else said. Like, yeah, so that was always kind of the plan.
And you've done so much, you've worked with so many people. What was the moment that was kind of like your big break where you thought, oh, maybe I could really go somewhere with this?
The first job I got was dancing for the American Idol tour. It was like season two. It was the season that had Clay Aiken, Kimberly Locke, and like Ruben Studdard were like the main like artists on that season. And at 19, I booked that tour, which was it was like a 2 month tour. That was the big thing where I was like, oh shit, I can make it maybe in this. But then after getting back from that tour, I went 4 or 5 years without working, without booking a job, and just people telling me, no, you're too young, you're too skinny, you're blah blah blah, you're not good enough, all those kind of things. So it wasn't until like 2004, 2005, I booked a reality TV show produced by Jennifer Lopez on MTV called Dance Life. And I was one of six dancers on that. They followed us around like LA through like going to audition, going to work, kind of the trials and tribulations of what it takes to be a professional dancer in LA. And that kind of got my name in the industry a bit more. I mean, it was on MTV and it was like every week there was a new episode for like 8 weeks. So, I was really like put out there, in a really interesting way. I think that was the moment where people started to recognize and kind of see me, started taking me a little bit more serious, and from there it kind of snowballed and I continued to work, for 15 years after that.
So how do you deal with working with all these big names? Because I was talking to your dad about it, and he said you just treat everybody else. You treat everybody just like they're any other person. Has that always been how you do it, or was it a lot more nerve-wracking when you first started?
I think in the beginning, because you're just so excited, and these are the people that you've seen like in the movies and on the music videos that you wanted to be in, and then you're in these rooms with these people, and you kind of are glossy eyed and kind of like, holy shit, like these are these people, But then after working with them and learning different artists like approach and their process and actually like speaking to them and understanding like now I work as like a creative producer or a creative director and sometimes choreographer on projects where I get to have a bit more of a personalized relationship with these people. And that has really, shown me like these are just regular people who are creating, who have a passion and are trying to get their vision out to people. And I'm just there to help them get that done. So did take me a while because for sure it's definitely exciting and nerve-wracking. Like, are they gonna like me? Are they gonna hate me? And it's like
Mhm.
they're just people, man. They just want to create and make art.
Are there certain elements of what you do that you like doing more than others?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm a dancer, so anytime that I can like move my body and dance or like teach somebody like how to be more confident in their stage performance or presence like that, what I love to do. A lot of where I'm at now, working as a creative is it's a lot of emails, it's a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of just organization, and that kind of shit like bores me to death.
Mhm.
But it's part of the gig now, so I'm down to do it. But anytime I can move, that's where it's at.
Mhm. What was it like working on the Love Show?
Oh, the Beatles Love Show, Cirque du Soleil, that was a trip. That was a job that I'd wanted so bad for a long time because, my dad and I know you are such huge, huge Beatles fans. So, like, growing up, the Beatles were like every morning waking up to the Beatles. When me and my dad, we found out like Cirque du Soleil is having this Beatles show, it was like, oh, we need to go see it. Never in my life did I think like, oh, I could be a part of Cirque du Soleil because it just seems so like left field for me, like a circus and aerial acts and all that kind of stuff. And
Mhm.
I've been in LA for a few years. I've been working pretty like consistently with different artists and stuff. And I saw at a dance studio they had a flyer up that said, Cirque du Soleil looking for dancers for the Beatles Love Show, audition in Vegas, blah blah blah. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna go see if I can get into it, not really knowing what Cirque du Soleil is or
Mhm.
the gig really was, right? So I go, and it's a big audition, and I make it pretty far. And then they were like, you know what, not this time, maybe next time. I think we have other people, but we'll keep you on a file. And I was like, I'm so stubborn that I was like, there's no way these people are going to tell me no. I'm going to get in the show and I'm going to do it. So then I trained that whole next year, practicing like gymnastics a little bit and dancing and just working on what my freestyle performance was going to be for that audition. And I came back and I got the gig, and I was just so stoked. I moved my life from North Hollywood to Las Vegas. It's a great show. Like that was one of the greatest productions I've ever been a part of. The character, the makeup, the whole process was like bar none, like up, up, like A plus, like really great. And just to dance to the Beatles music every night, on that stage that they had there. I don't know if I know you came way back when you were little,
Yeah.
but just how that stage moved and all the different like automation movements and the lifts and the people flying in the air, it was just insane. I really really enjoyed it, but it was definitely one of the hardest jobs I've ever done. Cirque du Soleil or any of those Vegas shows, you're doing 10 shows a week, which is 2 shows every single night. So you're doing that process just nonstop, and the wear and tear on the body is just pretty hectic, but I loved it. It was still one of my favorite things I've ever done. That was the only Cirque du Soleil show that I
Oh,
did.
okay.
And then I recently, gosh, the past like 4 years, I was the supervising choreographer for the Awakening show. I didn't necessarily dance in it, but I helped create that that entire show.
How did doing those kind of shows differ from like regular concerts and dancing stuff?
You're creating a show that's going to be there for a long time and that has to be recreated multiple times a night. How do we make this work for a cast of so many people? If 5 people are out, how do we make sure that the show still runs compared to like a tour, which is just like a one-off Thursday, Friday, Saturday are the shows. So you can really push the limit to like what you want the performers to do or what you need the stage to do, I guess. There's a lot of different things. A lot of the Cirque shows or residency shows in Las Vegas are a narrative story or have some kind of through line that you need to follow compared to
Mhm.
sometimes the tour is just like, based around the artist through line of what the album is and really presenting that as like the main focal point. So there's the spectacle, and then there's also more of a focused kind of look when you're doing kind of a live show or a tour for an artist or something.
You've worked with so many people. Is there anyone you still haven't worked with that you would love to work with?
I got super close to working with Michael Jackson on the This Is It tour. I got to like the last 30 people, and I was in the final lineup of people when they called all, the last however many dancers they picked. And he was in the room, and the choreographers were there, and we just done like Smooth Criminal in front of Michael, and it was just 2 days of auditioning. And that's one of the only auditions that I left, and I like felt not hurt, but you were just like put everything on the line. That I
Absolutely.
remember I called my dad and I like had tears in my eyes just because it was something that you grew up as a kid wanting to do so bad, and it was that close. And I felt like I did everything I could to get the gig. That was the one audition that I cried at for sure. His sister Janet Jackson is another like big reason on why I dance, and she's always been kind of like a dream job for me, which I've never gotten it, and I'm almost kind of happy that I haven't gotten it because
Mhm.
I like to have that kind of like to still have that like fandom for her
Totally.
and this kind of mystery about it.
What's it like auditioning to be in a Michael Jackson tour? Because that's like I can't imagine that's the greatest of all time. Like, what was that experience like?
It was the most epic dance event ever. Like I say that's my number one thing I've ever done as a dancer was
Mhm.
auditioning for Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Not doing a job, not doing anything, but that moment was so cool because it was at the LA Live, the Microsoft Theater in downtown across from Staples Center or what used to be called Staples Center. But they had it in on like a massive stage. It felt like old school audition with the mirrors up, but you're in the theater and you're learning from, Travis Payne is his choreographer and, longtime collaborator. So he's teaching the movement. It was literally everybody from around the world came to audition for this thing. It was 2 days of just like grinding and going again and learning steps and learning more and doing this. And the first round, it was like a massive chop of people. And then it was like, okay, come back tomorrow. Wear this. We're doing this. We're going to do that. And then that next day, Michael Jackson walks in the room with long hair, his big ass glasses, and you could just tell because
Yeah.
he was, you could just tell it was him, even
Mhm.
though he was like 20, 30 feet back there. And they taught us like Smooth Criminal, which is just like the iconic music video. So
Mhm.
you're doing that movement and you're like moonwalking and like doing what he did. And you see him in the audience and he's like pointing at the people and over there and whispering to his guys. And you're like, oh shit, like the energy in the room was like electric. Like even if you got chopped, it was just like everybody was there for love. Like it was so exciting. And like I said, like I got to the end, almost got it. A lot of my friends got it, which was really cool to see. And then, but devastating. But again, like no regrets on how I did at that audition. It was like everything was left on the floor, and that was something that I trained for a long time. And
Yeah.
sometimes you get it, and sometimes you don't, and it's just knowing that either the gig is for you or the gig's not for you.
It's got to be surreal because it's like at least you got to experience the audition because of course the tour didn't happen, so maybe it was like it probably would have been even more of a blow.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, my friends were devastated because it was like
yeah.
they were about to leave to London to go do this residency at the O2, and it was literally I don't know if it was Thursday or I think it was a Thursday because I was teaching dance class
Hmm.
and like everybody started texting like, "Oh my God, he passed away,"
Yeah.
and a lot of the friends were just devastated. Like they had worked with him for 2 months getting up to that and getting ready to move. I can't imagine how they felt during that, but what do you call that? In disguise, a blessing in disguise
Yeah.
for sure.
What was it like working with Tyler, the Creator, for his Grammy performance? Because that was something I didn't even know you did that until like 3 years after it happened. Because you posted and I was like, what the fuck? I didn't know you were part of that.
What a genius and cool dude that guy is. Like
Mhm.
just so slick. So I work for a company called Silent House Productions, and we specialize in like award show performances, tours, live events, anything that has to do with music, we do that. And one of our main creative directors is called Alex Reardon, and he is Tyler the Creator's main creative director
Mhm.
and lighting designer for him. He called me and brought me in and said, "Hey, I need some help with all these Tyler the Creator clones that we're going to bring on stage, and some movement, some staging for them." Tyler for Boys to Men joined him on that one as well. So it was a lot more of like organization and making sure everybody knew their cue, when to go where, what to do.
Mhm.
So it was so cool, and in the middle of it, I didn't realize like how timeless that performance was going to be, and
Yeah.
how like kind of like iconic because like I still see that thing pop up all the time. It was wild. It was so much fun. I mean, you're at the Grammys, everybody's there in the audience, and I'm there organizing these like 50 plus clones of Tyler. He's on stage raging out, and I have in-ears in. I'm talking
Mhm.
to the boys to me, and I'm like, okay, you guys go out now. Come off this way and the guys were walking from the back of the house, and you had to make sure that they lined just perfectly and cross center and then get up
Mhm.
there. It was so much fun, and Tyler had so much say on what the movement and what the vibe was. Like he was just hands on with that thing. So it
Mhm.
was really taking what he saw in his vision and making it work for him and just making it seamless. It was so much fun. It was so epic, and I got one of those pink and red suits with one of the wigs.
Yeah. That's so
Yeah,
sick.
that I got up in the closet. Yeah.
Wow. How does it
Yeah.
feel being part of like some artist's biggest moments like that.
I'm always so thankful for the opportunity to like get to do this job that so many people want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like just to be able to say to wake up and be like, what's my biggest stress? And I got to figure out an A count for an artist or tell them how to move or make them feel confident. So I'm just so thankful for those opportunities. And it's always so nice to like when the artist gets the reaction back from their fans that is just like gratitude. That's what's amazing to me. Like I'm always so like happy for these people because they work so hard to get to the level that they're at. So I don't know. I'm just super thankful that I get to do this gig because it doesn't, not a lot of people get the chance to.
So when did you make the transition from being more of a like a background dancer to more of like choreographer position?
I was about 30 and I was already in the mindset of like what's going to be next? Like how do I get to this next step in what I'm doing? Because up until then, from 18 to 30, I had been just concentrating on being a professional dancer and booking every job and trying just to keep a check coming in. And so around 30, I started thinking, man, like you're getting up there, like you're not always going to be like running around, flipping around and doing all this for so long. So
Mhm.
start figuring out what you're going to do next. So the last like big dance job I did was for Taylor Swift for her 1989 tour. Even before that, I was kind of like, I think I'm done touring. But my friend Chris Scott was a choreographer on that. And I had asked, hey, do you need an assistant? Would love to help out with that show, if you need any help. And he was like, you're perfect for this gig. Like you should also audition. You should also, yes, assist me and also, be the dance captain on that. So I ended up doing all those things for that project. In that process, the company that I now work for, Silent House, they're the creative team who put that show together. So I had asked the like associate creative, her name is Melissa Garcia. I said, hey, I would love to know what you guys know and I want to do what you guys do eventually. Like I don't know what time code is. I don't know what automation means. I don't know like all these basic things, but I want to learn. I want to get into it. And she said, well, when you have breaks from being on the road, hit me up and I'll bring you on to other projects and see if you like it and kind of show you the ropes of it because you'd be great at it. That was kind of my introduction into it. So I'd come home and she'd be like, hey, I'm working on a Selena Gomez performance. Come see how this comes from the ground up to being on television. So I helped her on a few projects and then I would say maybe a year or two later, Silent House hired me full time and I'd been there ever since. So it was the case of for both those projects, for the Taylor Swift thing and for also Silent House. Like
Mhm.
you have to ask and you have to like put it out there to people because otherwise they don't know. Like Chris Scott would have never known like I wanted to do a system if I never hit him up. And then I would have never got that job dancing. And then the same with Silent House. Like if I would have never said anything, it's not like they were going around being like, hey, come hang out with us. Like I put it out there and it happened. So I'm thankful for that and for those opportunities as well.
So what's it like working with Taylor Swift, especially at that point in her career, that she was kind of like transitioning more into being like a bigger pop star?
Yeah, I mean, it was like that was a dream job, and I don't think I realized how big Taylor Swift was at that moment because I wasn't really somebody who listened to Taylor Swift prior to that.
Yeah.
And so I got into it and I was like, wow, I was like, this is massive. And we were doing stadiums sold out like multiple times a night, flying to venue, not on a bus. And just the way that team takes care of the people that are traveling with them and working for them was just, we were so spoiled. Like you were really, really taken care of and the fans really appreciated us. And it was so cool because she was her and her family were just genuine people and very caring and took care of us.
Hmm.
So it was cool to see like people that had so much be so kind and offer so much to everybody. So it was a fantastic experience. And then, working with her through up until this last kind of Eras tour, I wasn't on the Eras tour, but everything up to that, I had been with her,
Hmm.
working with her and guiding her movement coaching, choreographing videos for her. It's just been great to watch how successful she is because she's so dedicated to her fans and the fans give it back to her. That's why
Hmm.
she's still doing what she does.
Do you get intimidated on like venue size, or do you just treat it the same whether you're in a stadium, arena, or a little theater?
Depending on where you're performing at, really depends on like how much you have to like exude or how much energy you have to give out. I personally love something like an arena because you feel much closer and it's much like more unpacked where you can like make eye contact with people, with more people, and you
Hmm.
feel the energy as compared to something like a stadium. People are ants that you see and they're so far away. The energy that you have to give for those two different venues is just massively different. Like stadium, you're dancing as big as possible and hitting the lines as clean as you can, so the people in the back row can understand what you're doing. And
Mhm.
also too, that even has to go with like how you choreograph movement. Like, are you choreographing so that people can see you from over 100 yards away, or are you getting more intricate and doing small, more detailed, textured stuff? So I don't get intimidated by it necessarily, but you have to be strategic in either how you perform or choreograph for those.
You did the choreography for the Backstreet Boys at the Sphere.
Well, I did not do the choreography for the Backstreet Boys
Yep.
of the Sphere. That was Rich and Tone,
Correct me, please.
who,
Yeah.
yep, who've been dancing and choreographing them for years. I was actually the assistant director for the whole show. So that was crazy because, my boss, Baz Halpin, the president, the founder of Silent House, he hit me up one day and he was like, "Hey, I need some help tomorrow." This was like a Friday night. And he's like, "Hey, I need your help. We need to come up with a creative for the Backstreet Boys. We're pitching for the Sphere. They need it by Monday." And
Hmm.
you're like, "Okay, great. Let's do it." So, we met on a Saturday morning, had some coffees, talked through a set list, came up with these images, and then I went home and came up with the creative document, Google slide sheet, if you will. And me and another gentleman at Silent House threw this document together, sent it out Sunday night, and by Monday, Tuesday, I think the Backstreet Boys had that show, like had the contract, we're in. And then from there, it just kind of snowballed, and we were, coming up with the visual looks, the different sphere, they call them sphere tricks, like
Hmm.
when it feels like you're falling off the cliff or like going through like a roller coaster pinball machine kind of a ride, just coming up with all those different concepts and what made sense and what didn't make sense necessarily and what was the through line. That was a dream job. And in the process, like I always say, like in the process, you don't realize like how massive a thing is because it's all just on paper and you're just like typing it out and looking at small videos on Frame.io or on your phone and trying to make sure shit looks cool. And then, when you see it in a venue like the Spirit, which is so overwhelming, you're just like, I still haven't necessarily like processed that, but that was just an insane experience. It's great, happy music. It's a great group of dudes,
Yeah.
and the Sphere is just like one of the best venues in the world.
Did that feel bigger, putting down that production in that kind of venue?
Yeah, that was huge. I mean, that the pressure and the stress of like making sure, because there's one video content team who kind of oversees all the other teams that are on there. I mean, there was like, I don't know the exact amount of different teams, but there's like hundreds of people from around the world working on this one show
Mhm.
and making sure that everybody is hitting the delivery dates, everybody's all, has the same concept, everybody's like pushing the same like quality of renders out and just getting it done in time. Like the render time for some of those songs were like 4 weeks. So it's
Mhm.
like we had to be done like weeks before and say, "This is it, hit go on render. We're done, moving on." So the pressure of that show was insane. And then also hoping like that first night, like, "Oh shit, is anything gonna crash? Are things gonna glitch out? Is it gonna get crazy?" But everything went smooth and people still seem really stoked to see that show.
So how do you feel about the future of live events with all this new technology coming out and just the future of music performance in general?
Oh my gosh. I mean, sky's the limit still. Like there's things that I see online every day that I'm like, "Holy shit, could you imagine doing that? Could you imagine doing this?" And I think there's going to be some really cool, holographic things coming, the lighting stuff that comes out on a monthly basis. You're just like, how are they making these lights, these lasers, all this stuff? And even like, I hate to say it, but even like AI, like robots
Yeah.
and shit on stage, it's just sky's the limit. Like who knows where it's going to go.
Mhm.
It's super exciting.
Do you plan on still moving forward with like the being a director or choreographer?
Yeah, I think that's always something that I'll do. I really enjoy connecting with different like with artists and being like, "Hey, what's your vision? Let me throw something together. Is this what you like?" And hopefully we meet in the same page and getting their ideas out is one of my favorite things. And then also working as a choreographer, like I do a lot of movement coaching for different artists, like a Taylor Swift, like a Jonas Brothers, like a Tyler the Creator, where you're just like not trying to make them be dancers, but make them be comfortable in their own skin. And that's one of my favorite things to do is just to be like, "Yo, if you just stood there and just stand and be cool and be you, like that's all you have to do." So I
Mhm.
really, really enjoy doing that. It's something that I think I'll always continue to do. I love to create. One thing that I would love to get into, and I've started kind of doing it as a side project, is creating short horror films. I'm a huge like Halloween enthusiastic. Like I love scary movies. I love haunted houses, all that kind of shit. So
Yeah.
hopefully there'll be some horror movies coming along.
You written anything?
I've written a couple shorts. I'm trying to just like push them out, but trying to keep a balance of like work life and hobbies and your own kind of passions going has been a little bit difficult the past couple years, but I
Yeah.
have one short that's done that I need to put out here shortly. But yeah, I have a couple things written for sure.
Well, it's hard to be scary.
It's super hard. It's all
Maybe
timing and yeah, it's way different than dance. It's way different. That's why, you see all these like comedians coming out because they're spot on with their timing and their delivery is really great. And that's why I feel like a lot of these comedians are having so much success in the horror genre. But yeah, it's tough to be scary for sure. Like it's one thing to be gory and bloody and that, but to make somebody like jump or like be thoughtful about it,
Mhm.
whole nother story.
You do dance studio stuff, right? As well?
Yes, I teach. Like I said, I love to teach. I love to give back to the community that's like given me so many opportunities. Like I want to see the youth come up and know how to work and have a great work ethic. So I work at a studio here in Studio City called the Six Compound, and it's a studio that's geared more towards like training and technical and work ethic and how to become a professional dancer. I teach a 9 to 12 year old group and I teach a 12 to 18-year-old group, which is a consistent like class weekly, and really kind of focusing on how to make these kids, stronger at taking class, stronger at auditioning, and just being better dancers and great people, honestly. There's a lot of dance instruction out here that's just being taught for like TikTok videos or that
Mhm.
instructor is trying to get so many views, whatever, which you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm not hating on that, but you also want to go take training that the teacher has some experience and knows what they're talking about. So yeah, I teach a lot, and I'm actually teaching in Las Vegas on September 14th at the Millennium Dance Complex. I think it's called IDV Dance. Oh, she's gonna kill me because I don't know what it's called. But it's kind of like a mock audition that I'll be doing. I'll be teaching, and kind of just sharing my experiences with people.
So
Yeah.
do you have any advice for people like me that want to get into this industry?
Do as much research on like all these different companies that you see doing these jobs. Put it out there to people that, hey, I want to do this, that. I would
Yep.
love to get into that. Like, don't be afraid to ask the question and don't also be afraid to be told no. Like, the worst anybody can say to you is no. Oh,
Yeah.
no, not right now. But ask the question and do the research. And there's so much like information on like Google, even just to like get maybe a step ahead,
Mhm.
of like, oh, how do I do this? Or what are the initial steps of getting into something like that? But I mean, ask. It worked for me. You know what I'm saying?
Anything else you
Nice.
want to add?
I don't think so. Those are great. That was fun. I dig that.
Sick. Sick,
I
dude.
mean,
All right. Appreciate it, man. I'm gonna end the recording.
anytime, sweet.
Appreciate it. Oh shit, wait. I almost just ended the whole thing.